our class now, O Lord, may you go throughout till our ending in the mighty name of Jesus.
Amen. So I welcome you back to today's class.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. In the last class, we started by looking at, please everybody mute your audio. Please, if I want you to talk, I will ask you to do that, please. Jamie, I'm waiting for you. Chidalu, I'm waiting. Okay, in the last class, we started by looking at Ralph Ellison's The Invisible Man. And one of the things I told you about is that the text has to do with what? Fortune. The text has to do with what? Racism. Okay, now, before I move on, Fortune, I want to see your video. I want to see your face. Now, before we move on, something spectacular happened in the world. Some weeks ago or some months ago that can be traced to the text we're treating now. Ralph Ellison's The Invisible Man. Who can tell me?
Marty of George Floyd.
Marty, George Floyd.
George Floyd's death. Thank you very much. Yes. What happened?
My
policeman.
Okay, wait, one after the other. Mercy, I want to hear you. What happened?
It was a policeman that killed him because of his skin color.
Killed him just like that? Something must have happened for him to be killed, yes? Paul, what happened?
They said he purchased a good with a counterfeit bill.
Yes, good boy. Then what happened afterwards?
Then they arrested him. They tried to arrest him, but the policemen were like, he refused. Then the policeman knelt on his neck for about 8 minutes and 46 seconds.
9 minutes?
8 minutes.
So what's the name of can you tell me the name of the police officer?
Derek Chauvin.
Oh, God bless you. That's good. It shows you're a literature student. I have an award for you. Where you resume back. So, it's about George Floyd. Remember, he's a what? He's a black, right? And now we were told that he went to purchase something with a counterfeit bill. And because of that, he was what? Arrested. Now, in the process, we were told that a white police officer, who is by name Derek Chauvin, knelt down on his what? Neck, right? In a bid to get him arrested. And for the 9 minutes, he was shouting what? He wasn't what?
I can't breathe, I can't breathe.
Can't breathe, thank you very much. And they refused listening to him, even when viewers told the police officer to do that. Not until when who came that he decided to stand up from George Floyd's neck. Now, you could see this aspect of racism. Racism exists between the blacks and what? The whites. Now, where the whites see themselves as superior and the blacks are seen as what? Inferiors. Are you seeing the slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
We said the whites sees themselves as superiors, while the black sees themselves as what? Inferiors. Now, in the last class, we were able to dive into the introductory part of Ralph Ellison's The Invisible Man. And one of the things we tried doing was to start with what? A summary of who? The main character. Now, what is the name of the main character? Jemima. Chidalu and Jemima, please put on. I don't want to keep repeating myself. Chidalu, can you tell me the name of the narrator?
There's no character.
The character has no name. And we said he has no name because he is, he was and what? He is and what? An invisible man. Now, in that invisibility, he tried to find visibility for what? Himself. But he sees that that is not possible in a what? White-dominated society. If you must exist in that society, it means you must do what? Just like I explained in the last class, you must do what they want, and you must tell the lies they want to what? Yeah. I hope you're following me. Now, as the story progressed, we could see instances where the narrator tried to move from an invisible man to a visible entity, and when he sees that even in that visibility he still can't be seen, he finally moved to that aspect of what? Invisibility. And so today we'll be going, okay, in the last class too, I told you to read chapter 1 and chapter 2. I'm sure most of you didn't do that. Paul, did you do that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Fortune, did you read chapter 1
Yes,
and
ma'am.
chapter 2? Did you read
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
Yes,
Then I will
ma'am.
know if you actually read the text or not. Now, the narrator and Catlock engaged in a fight.
Yes, ma'am.
No, nobody, don't talk. You're opening your textbook.
No, mine is Bible. Mine is Bible.
All right, I'm seeing his Bible. I can see his Bible. So, who won that fighting contest? Catlock or the narrator?
My catalog.
You checked your textbook.
No, ma'am. I know it, ma'am.
Oh, yeah,
Ma,
I'm
they gave them
seeing you now.
$5.
I will show you to the screen. I will show you for everybody to see now. Now, at the end of that entertainment, you know, they had to go through different stages of entertainment to entertain the white audience. Now, Jemima, those black people were paid some particular amount of dollars. How much was paid to Catlock?
There's no chat.
Kidalu, Catlock was paid how many dollars?
I don't know.
You didn't read the text at all?
Ma'am.
Yes, Fortune.
Ma, $10.
You're looking at your textbook.
Ma,
Looking at your textbook.
I know it.
Paul,
Oh.
he said Catlock was paid $10. Now the other blacks were paid how many dollars? Good boy. Thank you very much. Fortune, I'm seeing you're checking your textbook.
I'm not checking.
Mercy is not in this class.
Mercy is Bible.
All right. I'm still watching you. So today I said we're looking at analysis of chapter 1 of Ralph Ellison's The Invisible Man. Now, we said in our last class that many African Americans had to contend with racism in a society that sees them as what? Inferior. And just some months ago or some weeks ago, we used the story of what? George Floyd, who is a black and was killed by a white police officer by name Derek Chauvin. Now, those who challenged the system of these white people were either lynched, jailed, or forcefully repressed. And so, in the light of that, Invisible Man is written against the backdrop of the innate desire in man, in every man, to be treated as a human being and to attain success in spite of one's skin color. And so because of this, the narrator of the novel embarks on a journey in search of visibility. Remember, he was invisible, which means he cannot be what? Seen. Why? Because of his what? Skin color. And so for him to move on this journey of visibility, it means he has to walk by the rules of the whites. And so we said he was in search of visibility and success. And so in this journey, he documents his discovery along the way. Just listen to me, let's move along. I will ensure that the note or the slides is sent to the YouTube channel so that you can copy. Please copy it into your notebook. Now, let's move on. Okay, before we move on, now, this journey of the narrator to visibility started where? Who can tell me? This journey, if you've actually read the text, this journey started on a particular instance. What is that? I mean, what was that?
Ma.
Yes.
I think speech.
Huh?
During his speech. During
his speech. Yeah, he actually gave that speech during his graduation. So that aside, it was through that speech that he was invited to a program. So what do you think that is? That journey started when? At the Royal Battle Program. Are you getting me? I said, remember, he was invisible. And so he was now working towards the search for visibility. Now, that visibility means he has to walk by the rules and ways of what? The white. And so this journey actually started at what? The Royal Battle Program. Now, he was invited to the program because of what? His performance when he delivered his high school graduation speech. Now, you know, during your graduation, mostly the head boy or some prefects are given the opportunity to give a speech. Are you getting me? Now, that speech enthralled everybody, as in everybody were happy with that speech and performance. And so because of that, he had an opportunity to give that speech again. Now, in that speech that he gave during his graduation, he emphasized the point that humility was the very essence of progress, which means for you to progress in life, you must be very, very humble. And so this speech of his gave him an opportunity to attend the Battle Royal program. Now, this Battle Royal program is always an avenue for blacks to entertain white people. You know, it's just like a social gathering. Are you getting me? Where you have people come in to entertain you. Now, the person who brings in people to entertain these white folks is the school superintendent. So the invitation to attend the Royal Battle Program came from the school superintendent. He is the one who brings students to amuse white colleagues. Are you getting me? This superintendent, that means he is the one that brings in students to entertain these white folks. And so he epitomizes a system that encourage black people to see themselves as what? Inferiors to the whites. He epitomizes a system who encourage black people to see themselves as what? Inferiors. Now, we said his search for visibility started at the Battle Royal program. Now, when the narrator got to the venue of the program, he noticed that he wasn't the only black person available. There were other blacks who were brought in by the school superintendent to amuse or entertain the white folks. And so it was a gathering where the blacks come to entertain some influential whites. And now these whites had come together for a feast and to be entertained. And now, remember I said the narrator was invited by the what? School superintendent. So every black that was available at the Royal, as in the Battle Royal program, were brought in by the school superintendent. And so the narrator with the other blacks, are you hearing me? Are you hearing me? Paul, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Maybe Gideon. Put on your video. Jemima, put on your video. I want to see your face. Now, we said the narrator and the other blacks that were available, that were also invited to that program, they were actually 9 in number. So these blacks were, the narrator was forced to join the 9 students in the Battle Royal contest. Remember I said he was in a journey in search for visibility. And that is why the text is called Invisible Man, because the narrator was invisible, which means he cannot be seen. He cannot be seen because of what? His skin color, because he is black. And so he now began a journey to visibility, where he probably might be what? Seen. Now, for him to be seen, he had to pass through some processes. And that process, one of the processes, led him to attend the Battle Royal program, where he met with other 9 students who are blacks. And these blacks actually came in to entertain the white folks, to entertain them and to, just like a social gathering, and to make them happy. Now, one of the things the narrator had to pass through, just like you see on your screen, is that they were forced to watch a nude white woman dance. Now, this nude white woman is a black woman, and she is to entertain the whites. Together, we have the blacks and the whites. For the whites, it is a form of entertainment. But for the blacks, it's like a form of what? Slavery. Imagine them watching a nude woman. And now, the rule of the game is, when these nude women are entertaining the white folks, the blacks are not expected to show any sign of attraction or sexual arousal at the sight of the naked white women. Now, these black women were performing their own gimmicks. The blacks are to watch, and they are not to show any sign. Now, if you read through the text very well, one of the black students could not hold himself, and so he fainted. Now, what one of the white men did to him was to pour ice water on him. Now, when the ice water was poured on him, he jacked back, and he was forced to still watch that scenario from the beginning to the end, without showing any sign of attraction or sexual arousal. Now, this is one of the things the narrator and other blacks had to pass through. Now, the second one, the students were blindfolded and asked to fight one another. Now, the narrator becomes a punching bag to all the other 9 boys. Remember, their faces were blindfolded, and so they could not see each other. But I don't know the trick they played, and the narrator became a punching bag. He was beaten, he was punched, he was thrown, he was just staggering from one point to another. And after a while, the other boys had to leave the ring, and it was now left with the narrator and a character named Catlock to fight for the winner's prize. Remember, the narrator had received several punches, and so his strength had reduced. Eventually, Catlock became the winner. The narrator had been beaten black and blue at this point, but deep within, he still manages to rehearse the speech. Remember, he was actually given the opportunity to attend the Battle Royale program because of the speech he made during his graduation. And one of the key points of that speech is based on what? Humility. That for you to get high in life, you must be humble. Remember the first one, you remember we said the narrator was moving from being invisible to what? To having, to be seen as a visible person. Now, for you to be visible, it means you have to play by the rules of the whites, which means you have to do everything their way. You have to lie the lies they want to hear. You have to do things that they want. And so that speech gave opportunity for the narrator to be at the Battle Royale event. The first one I said was when the blacks were told to watch the nude picture of a black woman. The second one was when the faces of the blacks were blindfolded and they were asked to fight one another so as to get a prize. Now, this part only highlights the ways through which seeds of disunity are sown among blacks to prevent them from resisting oppression and racism. Remember, we said this racism is mostly about blacks and whites. But we said that is not enough. We even have racism that exists between people of same color. And so this is what the whites wanted to achieve at that battle where they allowed the blacks to fight themselves. So doing this, the blacks will instead fight themselves instead of resisting oppression and racism. Now, that is not enough. After that, after the fight between the blacks, now the boys, that's the blacks too. You know, when we're talking about the boys, it means we're still talking about these blacks. They were made to scramble for what? Gold pieces, coins of different dimensions, and few crumpled bills on an electrical rug, which means there was a rug, but that rug could cause it could electrify the blacks there. Now, you know, remember it was gold coins, but those gold coins, according to the text, they were what? Fake. Now, but for the narrator to have access, he had to forget all his pains and rushes to get the coin. So most of them had to, they would throw the coins at them and the crumpled bills, and they were to pick it on that electrified rug. Now, this narrator, when it was his turn to pick a coin, we were told that the violent force tears through his body as he stepped on the rug to pick a coin. Now, what the black did was for them to laugh at his pain. Remember, we said he was already beaten. He was already beaten blue and black when he engaged in a fight, especially between him and Catlock. And so the white men laughed at his pain and that of other boys. After all of this, after all the scenario of watching the nude black woman and that of fighting with other blacks, back to when they were supposed to pick coins from the electrical rug, they were paid for their services. Now, but Catlock, according to the novel, got the highest pay. He was paid $10, while the other boys were paid $5 each. You're coming in, mute your audio. No chatting in this class. If you see me remove you from this class, it means you're chatting. Please, just listen. Let's do what we want to do. You can continue that after the class. Rachel. Shidalu, be careful. Now, let's move to number 4. Now, remember I said the narrator was trying to move from being an invisible man to being visible. And for this to happen, he had to pass through different stages to ensure this process. One of these was when he attended the Battle Royale program. And I told you the first one, that was when he had to watch a nude woman, where the blacks had to watch nude women perform. The second one was when they were to fight each other. The third one was where coins, gold coins, and crumbled notes were thrown at the electrical rug, and they were to pick it. Now, the fourth one was at the end of the third one, we said they were paid for their services, and Tatlock got the highest pay. He was paid $10, while the other blacks were paid $5. At the end of this, remember, the narrator actually came for a purpose, and that purpose was for him to deliver the speech he made at his graduation. Now, eventually, he was able to make his speech, but during the process, he noticed that the whites were not even listening. They were talking to themselves and they were catching their phone, but some were actually listening. Now, when he was giving his speech, he kept repeating the word social responsibility, or he made use of the word social responsibility. Now, the whites asked him to keep repeating that statement. Now, in the course, instead of saying social responsibility, sometimes he will say social equality. Remember, the whites don't want to hear that word equality. When you say equality, it means you are fighting for what? The blacks and the whites to be what? The same. And they don't want that. And so, in fact, it took the help of the school superintendent. Remember, I said the school superintendent is in charge of bringing in blacks to what? To entertain these white folks. Students, I won't tell you to put on your video again. I will just remove you from this class. Please, let's obey instructions. It's just for 1 hour. Paul, Jerry. So I said, instead of saying social responsibility, he kept saying social equality. And he took the help of the school superintendent and him trying to rephrase that social equality for him to be saved from the fierce anger of the white men who were against racial equality between the whites and the blacks. Jerry, last warning. So it took, just like I said, it took the help of the school superintendent and he himself to be saved from the fierce terror of the white man, and him retracing back his statement of social equality to social responsibility. And so, as he rounds off his speech, he is given a calfskin briefcase containing a scholarship offer for him to study at the State College for Negroes. He took, now remember we said the narrator was or is an invisible man. An invisible man is someone that cannot be seen. So, and that is because of what? Racism. The narrator tried moving from being an invisible man to being visible. I will remove that person playing that thing now. Paul. And we said for him to move to a visible man, he had to play by the rules of the whites. He had to play by the rules of the whites. Now, that led him to performing, or to be, that led him to be invited to the Battle Royal program, where he was to give the speech he gave during his graduation. And the speech had to do with what? Humility. That anywhere one finds himself, one should be what? Humble. But he had to pass through some experiences when he met himself at the Battle Royal program. Now, I stated 4 things. One was the blacks watching the nude lady. The second was when the blacks had to fight themselves. The third was when gold coins and crumbled bills were thrown at them, and they were to pick on an electrified rug. At the end, they were all paid for their what? Services. After this, the narrator was given the opportunity to give his speech, where he kept emphasizing on social responsibility. Now, the blacks always tells him to go back into his speech. And sometimes, instead of using social responsibility, he uses social equality. And like I said, it took the intervention of the school superintendent and him retracing back his statement to be freed from the fierce anger of the white people who were present at the program, because they were against racial equality. Now, as he rounds off his speech, he is given a goat calf skin briefcase. Now, in that briefcase, he was given an offer to study at the State College for Negroes. And this actually started or gave him an opportunity into his journey of visibility. It was actually when he got to college, which is in chapter 2, that he began to play by the rules of the whites. And so he was so overjoyed with the scholarship that he forgets all the pain he had earlier, where he had to battle with the whites at the Battle Royal program. And so that night, after he was given the calf skin, that night he had a wonderful dream. Now, in that dream, he dreamt that he and his grandfather were about to attend a show. Now, before then, he had been telling his father different jokes, but his father refused to laugh at all the jokes. And so after that, in that dream, the grandfather asked him to open the briefcase that was handed over to him. And in it, he finds some envelopes. But amongst the envelopes, there was a short message. And that message, he was to present it to the school of Negroes he was to attend. And now, that message reads, "To whom it may concern, keep this nigger boy running." That was the message that was on that one of the envelopes in that briefcase. But it was actually a dream. He was what? He was dreaming, sorry. Now, this dream is symbolic. This dream is symbolic, which means that the whites dominated America will do all things in their power to see that blacks are marginalized. They will do everything within their power to see that the blacks remain marginalized. So that dream is actually symbolic and it is also metaphoric. How is it metaphoric? It is metaphoric in the sense that the harrowing, it shows the experiences, when you say harrowing, that's the terrible experiences that the narrator and blacks like him have to endure in what? In America, or in the hands of what? The white people. I said at the end of it, at the end of the speech, the narrator was given a briefcase, and that is a scholarship for him to attend the schools, one of the schools meant for what? The black Negroes. Now that made him so happy and joyful, forgetting all the pains he had gone through earlier. And so that night, while sleeping, he had a dream. And we said in that dream, he was supposed to attend a show with his what? Grandfather. And the grandfather refused, laughing at all the jokes he gave. And so also in that dream, the grandfather asked him to open up the briefcase that was given to him. And so in that briefcase, we saw a message where it was written, "To whom it may concern, keep this nigger boy running." So that dream, we said, is what? Symbolic, and it is also metaphorical. Mary Gideon, why are you smiling?
Suspicious.
It is symbolic and it is also metaphorical. Now, we said it is symbolic in the sense that the whites will do everything within their power to see that the blacks remain marginalized. And it is metaphoric in the sense that that dream shows the harrowing experiences that the narrator, including blacks, have to go through or to endure in the hands of what? The white people. So with this, we have come to the end of chapter 1. This is the end of chapter 1 of Ralph Ellison's The Invisible Man. Abashe, well done. You are catching fun with your brother, right? Jerry? Unmute yourself.
I don't have brother. My brother is not here.
You are lying, so I'm lying.
Nobody's here.
No, I'm not. I refused talking because I didn't want to disrupt my class. And you're still lying again. Please be careful. So that's a summary of Ralph Ellison's chapter 1 of Ralph Ellison's The Invisible Man. I told you earlier before the last class that you must read chapter 1 and chapter 2. So I've given you a summary of chapter 1. Now, this is your assignment. Now, this assignment should be submitted to my personal email, so I will know those people. I send it, I did not send it, will not come up. At least it's my mail, I can see it now. So, your assignment is for you to briefly explain chapter 2 of Ralph Ellison's The Invisible Man. You are to send the question to the email address below, comfortadeyanju1@gmail.com. Now, I have you next week Monday, right? Joba, when else do I have you?
Next week Monday.
Next week Monday. So this assignment should get to me on or before Friday. On or before Friday, so that I can work on it, mark, and give you the feedback. Now, our next class will be interactive and it will be class work. Are you getting me? So you have to read the chapter 2. You know how my questions come out. You know how I set my objective questions, right? Paul?
Yes, ma.
You know how I set my objective questions. So you have to read between the lines. That's what we will do in our next class. Briefly explain chapter 2 of Ralph Ellison's The Invisible Man. So see you in the next class and have a wonderful day. So is there something you want to tell me?
Yes, ma.
Oh yeah, I'm listening. Fortune.
I miss you. I miss you.
I miss you too. I miss you too.
Ma.
Yes. Abashe, where's my other son?
Mine is dead.
God forbid, he cannot die in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Where are the other students? They are still frontline workers working for COVID-19.
My Premier League is starting on Wednesday.
What's that?
Premier League is starting on Wednesday.
Congratulations. Congratulations. So enjoy yourselves and have a wonderful day. Bye.